Progress Test 2. Pages 84 and 85. Questions 1 through 6.
Listen to a lecture in a history class.
The Titanic was intended as a transatlantic passenger liner for a company called White Star Line. It was planned that the Titanic would run across the Atlantic on weekly express trips. White Star Line wanted to dominate this route, taking business away from its competitor, Cunard Line. At the time, Cunard enjoyed success with their two ships, the Lusitania and the Mauretania, which were the fastest in the world. White Star knew that it would be very difficult to create faster ships to compete against Cunard, so they decided to focus on luxury and comfort with their ship instead. Construction of the Titanic began on March 31, 1909. It was built in a shipyard in Belfast, Ireland, and designed by William Peary, Thomas Andrews, and Alexander Carlisle. The Titanic was 269 meters long and weighed 46,328 tons. When afloat, the height from the deck to the surface of the water was 18 meters. At full capacity, the Titanic was designed to carry a total of 3,547 passengers and crew members. It was definitely the largest passenger ship. Also, the Titanic had many luxurious features such as a gym, a swimming pool, libraries, and even a squash court. So, on its maiden voyage, it attracted many rich and powerful people who were thrilled by the size and luxury of the ship. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic set sail for New York from Southampton, England. 2,227 people boarded it on that fateful day. As the ship was crossing the Atlantic on April 14th, it struck an iceberg about 400 miles off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada, which caused the Titanic to sink. Despite sailing in a dangerous area where icebergs were common, the Titanic was going too fast. Eventually, it hit a huge iceberg and sank. Another problem with the Titanic was the rudder, the device used to steer the ship. For a ship of such a large size, the rudder was relatively small. This meant that turning in an emergency situation was impossible. The Titanic's lack of lifeboats made the disaster worse. There were only 20 lifeboats on the Titanic. It was not enough for everybody on board the ship. In addition, some people even refused to board a lifeboat because they believed strongly the Titanic wouldn't actually sink. In the end, the Titanic went down and most of the Titanic's passengers died.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. 1. What is the main topic of the lecture? 2. According to the lecture, what is not true about the Titanic? 3. How does the teacher explain the size of the Titanic? 4. Why does the teacher mention the rudder size of the Titanic? 5. How was the Titanic different from its competitors? 6. What can be inferred from the lecture?
Go on to the next page. Pages 86 and 87. Questions 7 through 11.
Listen to a conversation between a teacher and a student.
How did you do on your exam?
I'm not sure. It was quite difficult for me.
Didn't you study hard for it?
I sure did. I stayed up all last night reviewing my notes and solving exercises.
That may have been your problem. It isn't a good idea to stay up all night to study for a test. Instead of cramming all at once for a test, You should review little by little every day. Review when the information is still fresh in your mind.
I think I know what you mean. When I took the test, I felt confused about certain formulas that I'd solved the night before. I found myself running out of time just trying to remember them, so I didn't have a chance to double-check all my answers.
That's too bad. It's important to double-check your answers, especially on a math test. You know it's so easy to make a simple mistake and lose a lot of points. Try to manage your time effectively when you're taking an exam.
Okay, I see.
Then how about questions? Are they easy?
Well, I was confident about the function part, but the other parts were all difficult. Especially the last question was too hard. I'm not sure I answered that question correctly. I solved the question with a trigonometric ratio, sine, cosine, and tangent. Do you think I got it right?
Oops, that question can be solved using the Pythagorean theorem.
Oh, really? I was totally on the wrong track with that one.
Well, don't worry too much about the exam now. I mean, it's over and there's nothing you can do about it now.
I guess you're right.
It's only the midterm exam. You still have several unit tests as well as the final exam to improve your mark. In addition, make sure your attendance is good. Remember, attendance counts for 10% of your final grade. And don't forget to study regularly. You'll have several surprise quizzes in class. If you study your material every day, quizzes are a great way to improve your grade.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. 7. What are the speakers mainly talking about? 8. According to the conversation, which of the following is not true? 9. Why does the teacher mention the Pythagorean theorem? 10. How does the teacher reassure the student? 11. What can be inferred from the conversation?
This is the end of CD2.